Hello and welcome. Dear students, today we are going to discuss an important topic, that is conservation of agroecosystems. This lecture is broadly discussed with the objectives of introduction of agriculture and agroecosystems, features of agroecosystems, conservation of agroecosystems, strategies to conserve and promote agrobiodiversity, and management of agroecosystems. Let us begin with the introduction of agriculture and agroecosystems. Agriculture is a key motor of the global economy. It supports the livelihoods and subsistence of the largest number of people worldwide and is vital to rural development and poverty alleviation, as well as food and non-food production. The main challenge for the agricultural sector is to simultaneously secure enough high quality agricultural production to meet demand, conserve biodiversity, manage natural resources, and improve human health and well-being, especially for the rural poor in developing countries. An agroecosystem is created when human manipulation and alteration of an ecosystem takes place for the purpose of establishing agricultural production. This introduces several changes in the structure and function of the natural ecosystem, and as a result, changes in a number of key system level qualities. These qualities are often referred to as the emergent qualities or properties of systems. That is, qualities that manifest themselves once all of the component parts of the systems are organized. These same qualities can also serve as indicators of agroecosystem sustainability. A typical example of artificial ecosystem is a cultivated field or agroecosystem. This is a natural system altered by man through agricultural activity. Agroecosystems are often more difficult to study than natural ecosystems because they are complicated by human management, which alters normal ecosystem structures and functions. There is no disputing the fact that for any agroecosystem to be fully sustainable, a broad series of interacting ecological, economic and social factors and processes must be taken into account. Still, ecological sustainability is the building block upon which other elements of sustainability depend. Most fundamentally, an agroecosystem is an agricultural production unit, such as a farm, field or orchard, understood as an ecosystem and thus conventionally has imposed physical boundaries. However, changes within those boundaries transcend them to penetrate much of the surrounding area. Agroecosystems differ from natural ecosystems in some important ways, with the extent of differences reflecting the intensity of agricultural practice. They are subjected to a similar variety of constraints and ecological rules. Now, let us discuss about some features of agroecosystems. The main features of agroecosystems are: agroecosystems often have very limited duration because the life of crops can be very short. Each crop may be removed completely, that is many field crops in particular, at harvest. So, any equivalent to long-term successional change is then absent. Agroecosystems commonly undergo massive changes from external management, such as tilling, plugging, chemical applications and changes in microclimate and soil quality. Agroecosystems commonly are dominated by exotic species. If native species are used, then these may have been modified substantially from their ancestral forms through long histories of artificial selection or imposed genetic uniformity. Most agroecosystems are assumed to have very low species diversity. Many are monocultures, areas of a single plant species or variety with little intraspecific variability and with measures taken to prevent increase of diversity during crop life. Many agroecosystems also consist of plants of imposed uniform age and size. So, development from germination to harvest is uniform, with phases such as flowering or seeding occurring simultaneously in all individuals. Density of the plants may be much higher than in natural communities, and agroecosystems are commonly enriched by addition of fertilizers, rendering the plant nutritious and attractive to many herbivores. Rapid growth may prolong the presence of tender, palatable tissues. To a larger extent, agroecosystems are purpose-built, and the maintenance of natural ecosystem functions have been regarded as low priority in relation to increased efficiency of production. For many years, agriculture has played a role as the world's machine of food production. Various technologies have been developed to increase the quantity and quality of food production. Unfortunately, during the process, many agricultural activities are threatening the ecosystem. Biodiversity loss, desertification, and contamination are among the few impacts that are negatively affecting the ecosystems as a whole. Due to these impacts, the sustainability of agriculture becomes a question for many to seek answers of. Concepts and insights were brought in to develop agriculture in a sustainable way, like agroecosystems are the complex socio-ecological production systems vulnerable to degradation. Customized and site-specific management strategies are essential for regaining ecosystem services and functions. The emerging paradigms such as micro, urban and other forms of landless agriculture are the need of the hour. Harnessing indigenous and local knowledge is also essential for managing agroecosystems for attaining. Agroecosystems are the largest human natural coupled production system, covering approximately 40% of the planet Earth, and provide essential ecosystem services for a good quality of life and human well-being. Therefore, cordial efforts at national, regional and global levels are essential for managing agroecosystems to meet out the global goals and also the targets of the United Nations. Decade on ecosystem restoration from 2021 to 2030. The various strategies for restoring degraded agroecosystems for sustainable development, including the adoption of emerging paradigms such as microagriculture, urban agriculture and landless agriculture, for averting the mounting pressure on agroecosystems for the benefit of both people and the planet. Now, let us discuss the conservation of agroecosystems. The conservation of agroecosystem is to take measures to make the function of agroecosystem fully exerted in a sustainable way. In the modern agricultural ecosystem, planting a single crop on a large area will cause the outbreak of pests and diseases. Pesticides, chemical fertilizers, agricultural film, growth regulators and the extensive use of pesticides and other agrochemicals has caused the destruction of wildlife in agricultural areas and their marginal natural vegetation, water bodies and other habitats. The agroecosystem's self-regulation ability is weakened, preventing disaster resistance and disaster mitigation capabilities are low. Functions are degraded and the sustainable development of agriculture is seriously affected. There is tremendous pressure to produce enough nutritious food to meet the needs of the growing population. At the same time, due to climate change, extreme weather as well as the huge pressure brought by urbanization, expansion to agriculture production, the pressure on food demand has further intensified. Intensive agriculture needs to be transformed into sustainable agriculture that proves global food security and environmental health. Therefore, improve the function of agroecosystem and cultivate sustainable agriculture. Ecosystem is a problem that needs to be solved urgently. While our increasing demand for food has promoted the continuous improvement of human living standards, it has caused imbalances in the agricultural ecosystem and non-point source pollution. Serious problems such as the loss of biodiversity threaten the sustainable development of agriculture. Based on practice and related research state system, conservation is discussed under different headings. The need for conservation of agricultural ecosystems. The agricultural ecosystems is an ecosystem with agricultural organisms as the main component, controlled by humans and with agricultural production as the main purpose. It is a mutually restrictive and inseparable whole composed of the material component and the environmental component, which has the functions of agricultural products, production, ecological environment and life-serving function. The conservation of agroecosystem is to take measures to make the function of agroecosystem fully exerted in a sustainable way. The rapid growth of the world's population has brought agricultural production. Intensive agriculture needs to be transformed into sustainable agriculture that proves global food security and environmental health. Therefore, improve the function of agroecosystem and cultivate sustainable agriculture. Ecosystem is a problem that needs to be solved urgently. Now, let us discuss the agricultural biodiversity and agricultural ecosystem conservation. The biological diversity system in which humans and nature interact is an important part of biological diversity. Biodiversity of agroecosystems, the stability of the strong system and the promotion of the function of the agricultural ecosystem are of vital importance. Many modern studies have shown that in agriculture and in the ecological system, people can use biodiversity to improve the level of prevention and control of pests and diseases. Biodiversity has an important function of protecting benefits and controlling damage in the agricultural ecosystem, and the use of biodiversity, sexual prevention and control of crop diseases and insect pests is a hot topic in the conservation of agricultural ecosystems. Now, discussing the principles of biodiversity controlling diseases, Species diversity and self-regulation ability of industrial ecosystems are greatly reduced, especially when pathogen resistance is enhanced. Natural enemies and antagonistic microbes, when the number of phytotoxicity is greatly reduced, crops will face the threat of more serious disease, outbreaks and epidemics. Therefore, by increasing and maintaining agriculture, the effective control of plant disease by the biodiversity of the ecosystem is the fundamental guarantee for the sustainable development of agriculture. Then, principles of biodiversity control of pests. The use of biodiversity can improve the level of pest prevention and control. Through reasonable agricultural operations, the field vegetation, including crop types, can be adjusted and controlled. Layout, crop cultivation mode, weed control, etc. make it develop in a direction that is conducive to the reproduction of natural enemy populations, so as to maintain the farmland ecosystem. The reconstruction and development of natural enemy communities in crop habitats are closely related to the surrounding non-crop habitats. When the vegetation in the crop habitat is destroyed, non-crop habitat can provide a place for prey or host, overwintering and refuge for natural enemies that migrate from the crop habitat. During restoration, non-crop habitats can provide a seed bank for the reconstruction of natural enemy communities in crop habitats. The biochemical cycle of elements and the degradation of pollutants in soil organisms, chemical and soil immunity play a pivotal role. Improve soil stress resistance and recovery by regulating soil functional microorganisms. In particular, the diversity of key microbial flora such as nitrogen fixing bacteria, photosynthetic bacteria, phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, etc. is a key factor driving crop yield and soil function. Now, let us discuss the agricultural management measures and conservation of agricultural ecosystems. Traditional agriculture and early organic agriculture, natural agriculture, etc. leave the impression of low yield and low efficiency. With the development of various new agricultural technologies and worldwide attention and planning for sustainable agricultural development, at present agriculture is continuously increasing productivity under the premise of sustainable development. We must take ecological agricultural management measures to improve the agricultural ecosystem. Ecosystem conservation is an inevitable choice to maintain the balance and stability of the agricultural ecosystem and promote the sustainable development of agriculture. Now, discussing the application of ecological agriculture technology. Conservation tillage mode, that is intercropping, rotation, no tillage, water saving, agricultural measures, application of bioorganic fertilizer and bacterial fertilizer, green prevention and control of agricultural diseases and insect pests technology, circular agriculture, non-crop habitat management, that is green manure, plant hedges, agroforestry systems, ecological buffer zone, soil control technology, etc. The application of ecological agriculture technology can promote the conservation of agricultural ecosystems. Now, let us discuss the agricultural production, operation model and social economic management. The small and dispersed individual farmer business model is being used by more and more large growers. Cooperatives, family farms and agribusiness models. In a state driven by this background and market economic environment, the economic profitability of agricultural operations has become clearer. Now, let us discuss the organic agricultural production and conservation of agricultural ecosystems. There is a need to learn advanced green ecology and sustainable development technical theories. In the agricultural ecosystem, the protection of biodiversity can only be achieved through reasonable agricultural measures. On organic farms that do not use herbicides, among them, the types and numbers of plants, herbivorous insects and invertebrates are significantly higher than those of conventional farms. Organic agriculture means following sustainable development. In principle, in accordance with the basic standards of organic agriculture, no synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, growth regulators and livestock feeds are used in the production process. An agricultural production system that does not use genetic engineering technology and its products, the core of which is to establish and restore the biological diversity of the agricultural ecosystems. Now, let us discuss the maintenance of farmland biodiversity. After the maintenance of plant diversity on farmland boundaries, beneficial biological species and the number becomes abundant. Then ecological prevention and control of diseases, pests and weeds. The comprehensive prevention and control of diseases, pests and weeds is carried out by physical, biological and mechanical means. Eliminate the use of genetically modified materials, chemical pesticides, herbicides, hormones, antibiotics, etc. The mechanization of cultivating and weeding. Weeding weeds with improved field cultivating weeding machines increases the efficiency. Then soil fertilization. Enhance soil fertility and promote crops by adopting methods such as crop rotation, returning straw to the field, planting green manure and applying microbial fertilizers. Growth becomes better. Now, the technical support guarantee. Establish technology with relevant research and scientific research institutions. Technical contact, inviting experts to the company for technical guidance can help in mitigating the problems and conserving the agroecosystems. Now, let us discuss some strategies to conserve and promote agrobiodiversity. The strategies adopted to conserve and promote agrobiodiversity are: in situ conservation of agrobiodiversity, including habitat protection of wild populations, maintenance of native species and varieties in traditional ecosystems, and relevant environmental education. Then ex situ conservation and promotion of agrobiodiversity, which includes establishment of living collections and germplasm banks and introduction of species and varieties into agroecosystems for agricultural practice, and then promotion and conservation of agrobiodiversity through sustainable uses, which includes technique development of propagation, cultivation, pest and disease control, on-farm and off-farm management and other activities such as new variety breeding and scientific studies. Now, the strategies developed here will be helpful to conserve and promote agrobiodiversity at agroecosystem, species, variety or land race and management system levels. Now, let us discuss the management of agroecosystems. Agriculture and ecosystem services are interrelated in various ways. Payments for ecological services and innovative methods of agricultural management, including ecological agriculture. Conservation agriculture and the management of biological diversity are options for enhancing ecosystem services in agroecosystems while sustaining or increasing productivity. The management of agroecosystem includes managing ecosystem services in agriculture, managing livestock trees for agroecosystem services, payments for ecosystem services, ecological agriculture, managing biological diversity within agroecosystems, constraints and policy options. This was all about today's topic. Hope you have enjoyed it well. Thank you for watching.